Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Avatar The Last Airbender Season 2, Episode 1. Basically, this is my thoughts, and I will be spoiling some stuff and a little bit of a review. Now, this is the Netflix series, not that of the animation. I've already reviewed that. So, Season 2. It's interesting because it's like when this season dropped, at first nobody was talking about it. I saw only maybe one person talk about it, then more people and stuff. And the reviews for the most part are mixed for the entirety of like the season. Now I'm only gonna talk about episode 1 because that's just as far as I can go. I don't know if I want to watch the rest of it. See, here's the thing, right? When it comes to when it comes to the original, like animated series, my God, I love it. It's been over 20 years. It still holds up to the day. It is a masterpiece. It needs to go in some type of like that. What is that? Congress Library or something media, whatever it's called. It needs to go there. It's just that freaking good. And ever since that came out, no other sequel, no other remake has ever been able to top it. Not even the original creators can make lightning strike twice. The first live action movie we got was abysmal. My God, that was atrocious. I've only watched that one time. A couple of years back, I was tempted to watch it for a second because I wanted to see if I misjudged it too harshly. But I can't even attempt to try to watch it. I just can't. Then came this live action television series from Netflix. And for the most part, I thought season 1 was just okay. Like, it was pretty good, you know what I'm saying? I didn't like crucify it like so many other people did online. Like, there were some people who were just too harsh on like the season 1 of the Netflix series. My main gripes with that of season 1 was that like there was no real like raw emotion and stuff. Like, characters are supposed to get very emotional. They're supposed to shout. They're supposed to convey some type of like, I don't know, like they're supposed to convey like some type of just like untapped raw like emotion. Like, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of characters didn't that were really they're supposed to like shout, they were supposed to be like either really, really silly and they just wasn't for whatever reason it was. Maybe it was the writing, maybe it was the directing, maybe it was the acting, like who knows why. And then my other gripe was that people's personalities were wrong. Not everybody, but for the most part, a couple of people personalities just weren't supposed to be what they was portrayed in live action. And so I don't know why they deviated from like the animation. But for the most part, season 1 is pretty solid. I mean, it's an adaptation, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't gonna be like, shot by shot. I mean, if it was shot by shot, that would have been amazing. But it's not going to be that. But a lot of people just couldn't handle that. So going into that of season 2, I told myself, something, self, just accept it is for what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't overthink it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at least you finally got your live action Avatar series. And at least it's not that M. Night like movie. Like, it could be worse. You know what I'm saying? Talking about like, you know what? I know they're gonna make changes here and there and everything. So just try your best to like enjoy what it is. And I tried, and I tried, and I tried. But because I have such a deep attachment to the original series, it was hard not to point out things like, hey, that's wrong, and that's wrong, and that person's wrong, and who the heck is that? And this person's getting way too much screen time. And where's Aang? He's not getting enough screen time, and that's wrong. And so it was really hard for me to do. Now, I did not hate the first episode. There was a lot of good stuff that was good to see in there. But there are some things that are just kind of confusing. So what bugs me about this episode, and even though I have not watched the rest of it, I did watch the intro on YouTube. And of course, when you do that, the algorithm thinks, oh, you want to watch more? So it starts showing you a lot more. So people are uploading like spoilers and fight scenes. So I was kind of curious. And so I watched the final battle scene because in the animation, I love that. And the final battle scene is awesome. You know what I'm saying? But the CGI is wonky. And I thought the first episode of CGI was weird. I remember I saw a picture of somebody talking about the final battle and it's Aang. And okay, look, I already said spoilers. So spoiler on everything this show, right? And so you know how it is in the animated series, in the final battle, Aang puts that green crystal around his body and he starts to fight Azula only for Zuko to bust it out of him and stuff. I saw a picture of that. I'm thinking to myself, ugh, that's like some ugly AI crap, right? No, it wasn't ugly AI. It's the VFX. It's that bad. There are some CGI scenes like the water bending still looks horrible and everything. And Momo looks fake and Appa looks fake. And I'm just kind of like, where the heck did the budget even freaking go to? Because seriously, man, it's just like the CGI, the VFX, I don't get it, you know what I'm saying? But then I watched another battle scene. And no, I watched the library scene. I'm like, that's how they get to the library? And why is Jet there? And what the heck is going on? So basically, I'm just like, okay, this is what they're doing. The same thing they did in season 1. They just upped the ante when they did it this time. Basically, think about it like this. Go back to the original series. Take season 2. Pretend season 2 is a giant photograph. Now, cut that photograph up and put it in a blender. And now you have your puzzle pieces and put it together however you want to. Don't try to match it up. Just have it as confusing as possible. And that's how this season is. They took bits and pieces from multiple episodes and crammed them into episodes. So say you'll have 2, 3, maybe 4 different episodes that they cram into one. And that's just too much because you can literally see it being crammed in there and stuff. And that's how this entire season is. It's just scattered and crammed and sometimes a bit rushed. And it comes off confusing. Now, if you are familiar with the original series, then of course, when you see all this scatteredness and everything, you recognize it. You know why certain things are happening and this and that. But if you're completely new coming into this, you're going to be confused and everything. Not only that, but they tell and they don't show. And that's a major problem when creating a freaking television series. And when it comes to this first episode, this woman named Christine something, I forget her last name, she should never be allowed to adapt another person's property. I first said that when I saw her name. Then I looked her up. I'm like, heck nah. She's written and executive produced some of my favorite shows. what the heck happened, woman? She's only written 3 of these live action Avatar series, 2 this season, first and last, and then an episode from the first season. But she did the Omashu episode in the first season. I'm like, see, man, that's why I probably like had problems with this first episode. I don't like that episode. And in season 1. But I don't understand how she can write some of my favorite stuff and the executive produce some of my favorite stuff, but then turned out this crap. But back to the showing, the telling, not showing. So basically, things will happen, and if you're familiar with, and you will pick up. So Team Avatar is like walking around, and Sokka's all like, "Oh, I heard Zuko's sister, this Princess Azula, took over. I can't talk. Amashu, and because all in the original series, we see it getting taken off screen. Okay, we don't see it. You know what I'm saying? Like it gets conquered off screen, but then the team arrives there, and they what is it? They arrive there and they meet Azula and they meet Ty Lee and May for the first time, not knowing who the heck they are. And, we meet Boomy and why he decided not to fight and all this other stuff, right? And so this time, they're in Omashu, and basically Aang is talking to, like, I think, what is it? Like, somebody, I can't remember. It was some guy or Suki or something like that. And he's all like, I heard Boomy got, like, captured and everything. Is that true? And where is he at? And I'm all just like, really? That's how he found out, like, off screen and mentioned it to, like, the audience? Because the way the first episode opens up with, like, earthbenders being, like, attacked by that, refugees being attacked by that of the Fire Nation, and Aang and his friends just happen to show up and save the day, and he's all like, I heard this happen and everything. It's just like, that's like we can't see it for ourselves, like he ain't talked to like one of the generals like he did in the original series. And then the whole like Azula thing. They don't meet Azula in this episode. Instead, Sokka's just like, I heard she has like blue fire and everything. I'm all like, that's our intro, or that's their introduction into her, is that they heard something and they assume she has like blue fire bending and stuff. They don't get to see it for themselves. You're supposed to show, not tell. And I'm just kind of like, that's the number one rule in like writing. And there's another scene, I forget what, is very similar to that. Oh, the painted lady. So they did a little Easter egg about the painted lady and how she showed up in season 3. But I could have sworn she might have shown up in season 1 in the spirit world, but I'm not sure. I know Juan T. Sean, I think that's it, I can't remember his name. The giant owl, he had a cameo in season 1. They officially meet him now in season 2. And so, they foreshadowing and everything. And foreshadowing can be okay. The Harry Potter movies did that a lot, in the books and stuff. So that's totally fine, especially if you don't know who or what this series is all about. But here's the thing: Katara sees like a flower, and she asks this random lady. And this random lady has like some pretty good screen time. I was like, "Who the heck are you, lady?" Because you were never in the animated series, but you sure got a lot to say in this episode. And so the lady starts telling her, oh, these flowers come from like the painted lady. It is said by legend, whenever she touches a blade of grass or land, these flowers will grow and everything. And then she's all like, the painted lady takes the form of a woman and she is painted. So now Katara has that in her head. So whenever she decides to dress up like her, she and stuff like that, and later on we'll see her supposedly in season 3. Now here's the problem with that: in the animated series, Team Avatar and Katara, they first know what the painted lady because they either see like a statue of her or like a little toy statue of her. So Katara knows what she looks like. So when Katara pretends to be her and save the villagers and everything, and then later on meets the real one, it's kind of like, oh, they showed us what she looks like before. They told us what she is and stuff. And they can't do that here. Instead, they just tell us and everything. And why is she putting flowers in the Earth Kingdom and she's supposed to be relegated to that of the Fire Nation and stuff? So it's things like that, that I had a problem with in this episode. So I decided, since clearly, all this stuff being mixed around is bugging me, but I'm still trying to enjoy myself. But instead, I'm taking this from the perspective of just like how it's formatted and everything. And the way it's formatted is bugging the snot rockets out of me. It's so much heavy dialogue. There's so much heavy explaining. The acting, and I'm not trying to hurt none of the actors' feeling, seems to be worse than what it was in season one. Now, in season one, I gave a couple of people a pass because they were younger, like the Katara actress and the Aang actor. They were both teenagers in season one. No, she was a teenager, he was a kid. And so, and they don't have that many acting roles and everything. Because for the most part, the younger cast only have about, 6 to 8 acting roles, per person and everything. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll give them a pass, blah, 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 blah. Over time, maybe they can improve, you know what I'm saying? But the adult actors were good and everything like that. Coming in this season, so many of the cast, both young and old, acting just isn't there. There's no chemistry between the characters when they're paired up, which is shocking because they're supposed to be romantically linked. Like Aang and Katara, I couldn't really feel the chemistry that strongly. Sokka and Suki, they act like they're complete strangers and everything. Like there's no chemistry between them. And it's just like, what the heck? What happened to the acting and everything? The dude who plays Sokka in season one, I actually thought he fit the role because he acts just like Sokka. This season, I'm not feeling it. And even with the adult actors. And here's the craziest thing. Everybody is acting like they don't want to be there. They all sound dreary. They all sound tired. They all sound like they're being forced to make this show. And it doesn't help because the color palette is muted very much this season. And so everything feels draft and everything. And it's just kind of like, what the heck happened to some of these people's acting? And some people still need to work on it a little bit. Now, some people have improved in everything, which is cool, but it's not enough. Like the dude who plays the Mechanist, Daniel Pudi, I think his name is. I know that man can act, and I know that man has personality. What the heck happened? He's so drained in this episode that is just kind of whatever. And they gave him a love interest that just came out of nowhere and felt rushed. I don't get it. Now, the bending, from what I saw, looks pretty good. Especially water, but I will say that, the Katara actress, she does it so beautifully when she water bends. She's really flowing, you know what I'm saying? There's like grace with her when she does her water bending. And it really feels like she's moving like water. But I will say when she does the healing thing, she moves her hands around too much. Other than that, it's fine. Now, I am going to break my rule of like judging underage actors. The dude who plays Aang, he needs to work on his choreography when it comes to bending. Because like, not even this, when I saw like this one scene, I think when he freed Appa, I'm like, that's how you earthbend? I'm like, dude, like you like do more choreography and everything. Like practice a little bit more. Like just practice a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? And when he was waterbending, like I'm not talking about Aang, because I'll get into that a little bit later, but like when he was waterbending with Qatar, he was off in their movements. They were not in sync. Like if you go to that part at the Serpent's Pass, they're both waterbending at the same time, but he is off. He's like ahead of her by a couple of seconds, and he's not moving as graceful and watery like as she's doing. So he really needs to work on that a bit more because his timing is off and his movements are very like blocky and everything. Now, this could be an acting choice because we see when Aang is fighting in the beginning of this episode with water, Katara has to move his hand a certain way because he has not perfected water bending yet, which is shocking because technically he should be, because that's how it is in the animation. After the first season, he is very good at water bending, but she had to help him and everything. And so this could be like, oh, okay, maybe his character just not that good, you know what I'm saying? And that's why he looks the way he does in later episodes. Heck if I know. But I think one thing that's going on with him is that the obvious. He's not short no more. The dude grew up. He is super tall now. He's a teenager now, 16 years old. I think he started this when he was 12, I think. Because this has been like since 2024, since the first season, but they had to film before that. And so, like, he's not young no more. His body has grown up. It's adjusting. His voice is adjusting. His mannerisms in the face. So, you know, I understand that. Like, he has to, like, adjust. And he has to adjust on the fly because he's an actor now. He just can't be like a regular teenager. And this is something I have noticed with a lot of, like, former child actors. Some of them have a hard time adapting to their body changes, especially when it comes to like acting. The Modern Family cast is a great example of that. The two young boys and the Lily girl. Like when they started getting older, they could not adjust. The boys couldn't adjust to their voices, and Lily just couldn't adjust, period. You know what I'm saying? So I do see that a lot with younger actors who are like, you know, teenagers and stuff. You know, Daphne, I'm starting to notice with Daphne King, you know, she's like having to adjust now, to like her older body and voice and stuff. Tamar Smart is another one. Somebody else, I can't think of them, their name right now, but it's somebody. I can't think of them. It's just some people can adapt and others just can't. You know what I'm saying? And so, also I've noticed that this dialogue is very dialogue heavy in this episode, but the dialogue made absolutely no sense. Like when Sokka and Suki are talking and flirting with each other, they're acting like they haven't met each other in like 10 years or something, or for the first time, and they don't know how to like act around each other. But I'm not feeling the chemistry between those two. And it's just other little dialogue scenes is just not hitting for whatever reason. The comedy's not hitting, the romance isn't hitting, the dramatic scenes aren't hitting. People voices need to need either more expression or more bass or whatever. Like the actor who plays Ozai looks just like him, but he doesn't sound like him. He sounds like a nice guy and everything, you know. And the Katara actress, she needs more expression, like, you know what I'm saying, in both, like, you know, her facial expressions and her voice and everything. And, you know, I can't believe that the writer wrote the weird dialogue that she did, like, Boomy. I'm just like, dude, like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, I know, like, he's talking about two completely different things. And I know that because of the original series. If you come into this not ever watching the original cartoon, you're gonna be very perplexed and confused just as what the heck is he talking about and everything. He talking about like why he didn't fight back and why he allowed his kingdom to get taken by the Fire Nation. Then he starts talking about neutral gin and everything. Now I say neutral gin, like Gin, but I think you say it differently. I remember in the original series that's how I always said it, but he pronounces it a completely different way. So I might be saying this wrong, and I'm just kind of like, okay, you go from that topic, then you go to neutral gin, and I'm just kind of like, but he doesn't really explain very well the correlation between like his first story of why he didn't fight back and neutral gen when you just wait for the right opportune moment, it just comes out very odd, and that's because the dialogue is written very weirdly and everything. Like seriously, there's a lot of stuff this episode or this season that if you're not familiar with the source material, you will just be confused and everything. Like very, very confused. But anyway, let me quickly talk about like what actually happens, from certain scenes in this episode because I'm like 20 something minutes in already. So yeah, I don't want this to be a long video at all. So let's get into some of the things that just kind of happened. Okay, so it starts off with some Earth Kingdom people, refugees, and they're being led out by some Fire Nation people. I will say this season, for some reason, a lot of the Fire Nation people are wearing black. They're supposed to wear a combination of black and red. But anyways, so they're about to get attacked, and this one lady or man is giving like a speech. Now I don't know who the heck this woman is. She is like brand new to like this series and stuff. And so then all of a sudden, Team Avatar shows up and fights the bad guys and everything. And so I'm pretty sure Team Avatar wasn't with the refugees because, like, well, these people have never been, like, taken away or hurt, nothing like that. So when they're fighting and everything, the fighting choreography is pretty good. The bending is pretty good. Katara does some really cool stuff. But then Sokka's fighting, and I see him take out what I thought was his boomerang. I'm like, yes, boomerang action. And he throws it. It's not his boomerang. It's Suki's fan, and she catches it to his surprise, like he just stumbled upon her, which he did. Now, there's no talking amongst none of the Team Avatar people. Even the Mechanist doesn't say nothing in this opening beginning and everything, which is strange. And so, like, I would assume that, okay, they would have gave the Mechanist something to say more or just something to say instead of this random person, right? And so but Sokka is the first person to say something when fighting from Team Avatar. And so, after they all reconvene, which is just randomly happens. It's just, oh, here's some Earth Kingdom people being led out by the bad guys. Then Team Avatar shows up, and then Team Avatar realizes, hey, the Kyoshi warriors are with them and everything. And so, this is of course when Aang asks, about Boomy and stuff. So he was told Boomy's being held at a high location in Omashu in a room made of metal. Now, here's the thing. Boomy is just in a metal room with lots of lavish stuff. And he asks Aang, hey, why you here? Now, here's the problem I have with this. First of all, why would the Earth Kingdom build a room made of metal? That makes no sense. So most likely the Fire Nation people brought tons of metal with them so they can firebend into like a room and keep him there. That don't make no sense. So you can tell they just didn't have no budget. Because Boomy is basically supposed to be in like a sarcophagus and everything and dangling on like a metal chain and high into like the air because Omashu got like taken over by the Fire Nation and stuff. And Aang and them was supposed to mount a rescue and try to get him out, only for him to say, he doesn't want to leave and everything. And so basically he's all like, I did nothing. I didn't fight back. In order to, I forget what he said, but it made no sense, Kadala. In order to not feel I had to do nothing in order to feel everything, or something weird like that. It makes no sense. Then he starts asking Aang about neutral Jin and everything. And I'm just like, the heck is going on with this dialogue and everything? But the fact that he's just in the metal room with all this lavish gifts is just weird. Why would they pamper him for? And he's their prisoner. But then we find out it was Azula that took over Omashu, which never happened in the cartoon. It's actually May's father. So he heads back to where everybody else is at, right? We get like an awkward scene between Suki and Sokka with like a pear orange or something like that. They combine two fruits together. It's supposed to combine animals, not fruit. And so like it's a really awkward scene and these two just have no chemistry. But basically she's all like, y'all inspired us and everything and all this other crap. Now technically, yes, that did happen. They did aspire the Kyoshi warriors. They left to help with the refugees and stuff like that. We don't get no underground like train sequence or nothing like that. And not to mention, Toph is missing from all of this because they have to go to the Serpent's Pass. And so like it's just an odd little romance scene between these two, and he didn't recognize her without her makeup one night, and stuff like that. So they're walking the Serpent's Pass, and Aang and Katara doesn't like what the sign says and everything. And so, of course, just like in the animation, they go like underground and everything. Not so much underground, but underneath, like the ocean and stuff. And I like this. It's very similar to the animation. Even Momo's jumping in the water to get a fish and stuff like that. Well, they get attacked by the serpent, so they have to fight it off. And the choreography and everything is really cool, especially Katara, like surfing and stuff like that. And the serpent is actually a combination of the serpent from the Serpent's Past in the animation and the unagi and everything, because it's shooting out water from his mouth, which it's not supposed to do. I don't know why they combined these two creatures. Maybe because in the first season they didn't have it, so they're like, okay, we'll have it here. It's just kind of weird. But it's mostly Katara that fights the creature off. And like the Kyoshi warriors, this is what I found was so stupid. They took their fans and they threw it at them because the fans are made of metal, and it gets stuck in the creature, and then it looks like it's incapacitated and falls in the ocean, only to rise back up. What the heck made them think they could do that? But then Aang hit it in the side of the head with something. I don't know exactly what, because the choreography and the VFX just didn't match up. And then he's like, oh no, I killed it and everything. And it has like a wound. And Katara, she's been trying to get Aang to heal with water, but he doesn't want to because he doesn't believe he'll be good at it. But she like teaches him how to do it, right? Here's the problem. Male waterbenders can't heal nobody. Only the female can. That is lore. That's canon from the animation. Why the freak nuts would they change this for? Now, I don't get it. Like, it gives the female waterbenders that special thing because, of course, the men don't want them fighting in battle. But now Aang can like heal people. And the thing is, Aang, he's powerful because he's the avatar. He's not supposed to be so powerful he can do like everything, you know? He needs some limitations and everything because he's a goofy kid and it takes him a long time to learn things. So, oh, also, there's no pregnant lady going with them. Yes, the dude who's playing like, you know, the banjo and everything, he gets a cameo and stuff like that. Get a scene with that lady in Qatar talking about like the painted lady and everything. And I already talked about that, so I'm not going to go into no more detail. Now, there's an interesting scene with Katara and Suki, something we've never seen in the original series. I don't even think those two characters really ever spoke to each other and everything. But here, Suki's all like, Katara, I'm really impressed with how you handled yourself today. And, you know, when you're done helping Aang, why don't you come and join our team and everything? Like the Kabuki Warriors, not Kabuki Warriors, Kyoshi Warriors. Sorry, I'm thinking of WWE wrestling with Kari Zane and Io Sky and what's her name? Asuka. But yeah, she wants her to join the Kyoshi Warriors, and she's all like, "Wow, I'm honored." But she doesn't want to leave Aang. Now, first things first, these creators don't understand who the Kyoshi Warriors are. They are an elite group of female warriors who are non-benders. For them to add Katara would go against, like, you know, who they were in the animated series. They proved that just like Sokka, they can get partially the job done without bending and everything, and they can hold their own. But benders are still stronger than them, which causes them to get their butts kicked. Yes, logically, it would make sense for them to add benders to their group, but they don't do that. Just like when they added Ty Lee at the ending of like the original series, she is a non-bender. That is who they are. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to state that they do what they do because they are non-benders. You get that when you see them like do their thing. And these creators just don't seem to grasp and understand that. Similar to the live action Peter Pan that Disney Plus made when they introduced like female lost girls. I went into a whole reason why female lost girls make no sense because they have to understand why Peter chose Wendy, the only girl in his group. Then the Mechanist tells Aang, you know, there's a comet coming because he can see it with his telescope. Now, yes, you can see things from outer space with a telescope, a very powerful one. I don't believe for a second that you'll be able to see it with like this ancient primitive like material and everything and tools and stuff. But as he's talking about it in Sozin's comment and everything, this is freaking Aang out and he doesn't want to hear no more because he doesn't say why, but you get the impression that, oh no, I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm scared and blah, 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 and stuff like that, right? They say they don't know when it's going to come. Couple of months, couple of years. This is because the actor keeps growing and everything. So then there's a weird scene with the Mechanist and that woman where he's sitting next to her and he's all like, I would like to start a relationship with you. And I think she said like, at first I thought she was going to say no. But then she said she'll like that. I'm just kind of like, so wait, he likes her? There was no build up to that? There was no scene building up to that? We don't get no kind of backstory with her and him. Just randomly it happens. That's some rushed writing. Now there's a scene with Aang and Sokka. And Sokka, when they were dealing with the serpent, he's all like, just go into the Avatar state and blah blah blah. And Aang's like, no, I don't want to and stuff. Now, there's a reason for this. This never happens in the animated series with Sokka and Aang, but it happens with Aang and a general. In the animation, they are still in the North Pole and they leave for the Earth Kingdom. They meet a Earth King general, and he tells Aang, "Hey, look, man, I heard what you did at the North Pole and everything. Like, screw learning like Earth bending and fire bending. You're ready now. Just get in that Avatar state and like whoop behind and everything." And so he agrees to do it, but he's unable to. So, like, he coerces Aang to do it by trying to kill, Qatar. So Aang pops into the Avatar state. He wreaks havoc, only for Roku to, like, grab him and tell him, like, look, man, I gotta teach you something important. If the Avatar state, and he starts teaching about this and that, and if you die in the Avatar state, like, bam, that's it. The cycle is over and everything. And you're no longer connected to the rest of the avatars because you're dead and everything. And so, the cycle will be gone, and whoever is next, you know what I'm saying, like, won't have that, blah, 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 blah. None of that is here. It's just a quick dialogue of like Sokka's all like, hey, get in the Avatar state. No. And that's basically it. And I'm just like, dude, you're leaving out the important stuff. You're leaving out the stuff that a general random person needs to know when watching this series. Oh, so in case you haven't noticed, I am going out of order because it's very cut up. And so I'm just doing like the character bio type thing and explaining who's doing what. So, Zuko and Iroh, they are fugitives. They are in the Earth Kingdom. They've already cut their hair. We don't get to see the scene of them at like a massage parlor, only for Azula to come in, trick them, and be all like, Daddy wants you to come back. Oh no, you're a failure. And like, I'm here to take you in as a prisoner. We don't get none of that. They're just already working in like a farm field, plucking vegetables and everything, which is something that never happened in the original series. We don't get no scene between like Jet and like Zuko. We don't get to constantly hear how Zuko hates like this life and everything, and how he wants his honor back and all this. We don't get to see him like interact with the Earth people in a way that might seem like he's trying to be human and everything. We just get this, and he's bitter, and he's tired, and he doesn't want to pluck vegetables, and this one dude's pissing him off and everything. And yeah, it's similar to what happened in the animation, but just very watered down, very condensed and everything. And so, like, we don't get to see him and Jet fight each other and Jet be paranoid and stuff. We don't get none of that in this episode. And so then at the very end, he's telling, like, Iroh, all this is your fault. And I thought he was going to talk about what happened at the North Pole. No, he's all like, if you just would have conquered Boss Sensei all those years ago, you would have been Fire Lord and my dad, and I never would have walked into like the throne room and interrupted that meeting with the generals and everything. Got my face burnt, got banished, and all this other crap. So he's all like, I'm done with you and everything, and he leaves. I'm just kind of like, that's it. We barely get any interaction between those two, and he's already like left, pissed off, mad. We don't get like nothing else. Like there's no Azula, there's no nothing. You know what I'm saying? How that's not building up to nothing. It just like happens and crap. Lo and Lee do appear very briefly in this episode, but they're not old enough and they don't have gray hair. Now, they are played by the same actress, and they're there just to serve comedic relief and banter, but they're not there to give Azula advice, which is what they are supposed to do. Yes, they were comedic in the cartoons, but they are wise and they give Azula advice. They are her advisors and everything. And so the show misses the point with these characters entirely. But speaking of Azula, I will say I really like this actress' take on Azula. She is still cold hearted and selfish and everything, but in a different way than the animation. In the animation, she was just pure evil, and there was like this charisma with her. Here is more live actiony and everything. She's just cold hearted and calculated in a very sly kind of way. So basically, at the Fire Nation and everything, she's with her father, and he asked for her opinion on how they should proceed to take over Ba Sensei. So she gives him her plan of attack, and he loves it. But instead of having her command the army, he has this other random guy, which pisses her off. Why he did that exactly, I have no idea because I haven't watched no other episode. But he tells her, I want you to go look for your brother and bring him home. I'm gonna pardon him and everything. Why? That's not Ozai whatsoever. Ozai is an evil man. Don't humanize this dude because you're gonna ruin him. So she's going to look for Zuko with the help of Mei and Ty Lee. And they're just walking in the forest. And there's more weird dialogue about the forest and being in the forest and losing yourself to the forest. Some crap like that. I'm just like, what the heck are they supposed to talk about? It's supposed to be kind of like the swamp. Because they're not in the swamp. They're in the forest and everything. And they're walking like peasants. Like she's a princess. Where's her vehicle at? Where's her animal at? You know what I'm saying? And we do get Lo and Lee, but they don't have gray hair. But anyway, so these three. The actress who plays Ty Lee looks like Ty Lee. Oh, I can't say her name. Ty Lee. She looks like her. She sounds a little bit like her and has quirky facial expressions like her. But she doesn't have that weird bonkiness, bizarre personality. She doesn't walk on her hands or nothing like that. She does flips, but that's about it. But for the most part, she looks like her. She sounds like her. Her facial expressions are on point. She just doesn't have that energy in her voice. The actress who plays Mei needs to sound more goth and everything. And so the show has not properly set up Mei or Ty Lee. We don't see Azula going to recruit them and everything. And it's important because it shows the kind of people they are in the animation. Mei's father is like a high-ranking person who took over Omashu and everything, and she's with her family, but she's willing to sacrifice her little baby brother and leave her family to help Azula and everything, just because she's bored out her mind and she wants something exciting to do. And even though she has all this wealth and glory and everything, that's just not enough for her. Here, we get none of that. She's never bored. She doesn't want to kill just for the fun of it, nothing like that. Ty Lee is a circus freak. She loves doing circus life. Azula tricks her into, joining her. Because, that's just the kind of person Azula is. She can see somebody's happy and could care less because she wants to do. If she needs you for something, she will find a way to get you to do that in a very nasty kind of way. So to set up these two, Azula's just like, I want you two to fight to the death, just as random as I'm saying it is. And she's all like, Ty Lee doesn't want to do it, and Mei doesn't want to do it at first, but then Mei's just like, screw it, and just tries to kill her. So Ty Lee's all like, fine. So we see Mei throwing her weapons, and we see Ty Lee flipping around and using pressure points, which she does in the animated series. Then Azula makes them stops all like I was only did that to see if like, you're willing to do whatever I need you to do and stuff like that. And I'm just kind of like, that's how you have to set these two up and show their skill set? Just some randomly fight to the death type thing? You couldn't like throw in a little something better than that? But they did have to set them up. It was just a weird kind of way. And so she tells them, we're not going to look for Zuko, we're going to capture the Avatar and everything. Disobeying her father. And back to the structuring format of like this season, not trying to compare it to that of the original, I got a problem because they never show and establish why Azula just wanted Tai and Mei Li to accompany her and stuff. There's a reason for that. She took the Fire Nation army with her and they kind of bumbled everything because one of them spilled the beans as to why they really wanted Iroh and Zuko. Azula lied and said father wants to welcome you with open arms and everything. Well, Iroh kind of got suspicious of, but Zuko did not because Zuko. Only for one of the guards to be all like, where should we put the prisoners and everything, which tipped them off and then they attacked them. So she realizes she needed a small and elite team of people she can trust and trust only to get the job done, which is why she got Tai and Mei Li. Here, they just accompany her everywhere she goes and everything. But without setting up the reason as to why. And that's the problem I'm having with this season. They're setting things up because they know it's part of the source material, but they're not setting it up in a way for like the general audience to understand why and make it logical sense. So this first episode was just all over the place, man. It was just so confusing and stuff. And I'm really scared to watch the rest of the season because I just don't want to experience what I just experienced here. I would like to, I really want to love this series so much. You have no idea what it is to have a live action Avatar series where the races, for the most part, are on point and everything. Unlike that M. Night movie and stuff. But it's just so much has changed. They just changed so much around, and personalities are somewhat different. And the acting is just what the heck happened to some people when it came to acting? Like, it was better in season 1 for the most part. But like I said before, nobody acts like they want to actually be there and stuff. They just act like they're drained and tired and want to go home and stuff. And so, yeah, it's starting off on a very shaky kind of start and everything. I do wonder how they're going to change things up for season 3 because they've already filmed season 3. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, in streaming, actors and actresses take on multiple projects. Two, the mixed reception of the show, and they're just like, yo, we gotta hurry and tie this up. And then, of course, the actors are getting bigger and getting older looking in the face. Like, I've already said about the dude who plays Aang. The dude looks so much older and taller than what he did in season 1 that it just comes off as being awkward because they had to write him more serious instead of the goofy little kid and everything. The Katara actress, something nobody never brings up, she has grown too. She's now like 20 and everything. She's taller than what she was in season 1. And it shows and everything. And the dude who plays Sokka just looks like a grown man at this point. Like he's like in his mid-20s, he looks like. And so they had to hurry and wrap this stuff up because people are just like, aging out of this and stuff. They should have filmed season 1 and 2 back to back and everything. That way, at the end of season 2, when Aang gets hurt, they can just say, oh yeah, a couple of years has passed and you was in a coma and stuff like that. That's what they should have did. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.